DanganRonpa.
Got it! Hyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar. So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Hyoko's body was already there.
Yeah, it's larger than the other one. I never noticed that.
However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
Yeah, you'd be drawn to it.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
Baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar. So using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers was to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music room.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper. And because of that,
The killer must have been in a hurry. Their plan took too long. Hajime could have walked in on it.
but going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone. They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
Seeing as how the heating was broken, we can't get an accurate time of death.
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
Which I don't like because they don't match up properly.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
It's when you copy another form of murder. You copycat.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
Trust me, Monami, you're not missing anything. It's the worst thing ever.
Hey! Don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
I don't eat mothballs. I just enjoy looking at them. I knew it. There are so many similarities. It must have been intentional.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hiyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
But why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Wasn't even that good a movie.
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations isn't that difficult to figure out.
It's not. The reason the killer imitated two victims in that movie should... To mix up kill... Oh, yeah.
I see!
Yeah, that's why.
The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
Yep. We'd think that they were actually copying the movie, so they'd have killed them in the order from the movie. when in actuality they were in the other order.
Then Hiyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
What?
I'm not even crying.
We ain't begging.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
Gundam, you are schizophrenic and I'm sure of it.
What a jerk!
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying, right?
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right?
We think.
That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
Ah, and they were covered in blood.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed. That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the sylph's feather. Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
Man, he's being annoying again.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed. How can a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know something like that?
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
You're one to talk.
Anyway, if this continues, we're just gonna talk in circles. I think it's best we clarify Ibuki's status when Hiyoko was killed. Blood on the soles of her shoes, that's the clue. That's what it is.
When Hiyoko
She
died,
was standing.
Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
Because there's blood on them. And I was meant to agree with you, my bad. Does the evidence you just presented contradict what I said? Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed, for sure.
Crap!
Ah, fuck, I put that in the wrong place. My bad. Continue.
When Hiyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
Alright. Sound like she's a
I
ghost.
am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
Yep. Lad. Lots of it too.
I agree with that.
My bad, Jackie.
Just as Sonia said, Ibuki stepped on something. That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries.
Nah, she just broke her neck from the noose.
Then it's Hiyoko's blood.
Hiyoko's only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. And she died almost instantly, right?
And if you slit someone's throat, a lot of blood does come out.
If Ibuki stepped on her blood,
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hiyoko was killed.
Don't underestimate the power of the evil eye.
Seriously, Gundam.
Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Does that mean you have a
I
rebuttal?
think so. I don't know. He's a bit weird.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line. But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
Right. He really is nuts.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status. However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Okay, so what I got to work with here? Rope used for the hanging, scrap of the smudge, the blood on the floor.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged... Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood. You
My
can't
bad.
step on blood that was never there. Just about one see a nice nightmare.
Sod off, you jackass. I do like that line though. See a nice nightmare. That is a nice line. Despite his exaggerating process, I feel like I've been already seen it opening. There's a trap.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged? Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no
Gotcha.
blood on the floor.
Allow me to cut through those words. That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away after.
They did a half-assed job at that too. Oh, sorry. Or she.
Don't say such foolish things. You don't have proof of that
I
at
did.
all.
If you looked closely, you would have seen poorly cleaned up blood.
Yes, I do. If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped
See?
away.
How badly cleaned up is that?
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating. So I don't think they had to go that far. Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
Yep.
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
The time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yup. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now. Fine then, but regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time
It
too?
did help last time though.
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed
Can't
to
really
do?
blame them for killing themselves, can we? Huh? Suicide.
The same as always. You have to vote for who the
But
killer
if
is.
they're already dead, you don't get to punish them.
Think about it. A suicide means you killed the most important existence of all, yourself. Unfortunately, that means there's no Blacken to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Okay.
Why me?
There.
Nagito? What do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko, and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
That is possible.
That's totally impossible. Then she never would have killed her to begin with.
But with the despair disease, she would do anything she was told.
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
Yay! That fucking disease screws us around.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right?
Yeah.
After Hajime saw the hanged body, the sudden appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means the killer had to be alive at that time.
Then she was alive! When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead.
No, I don't think you can make it quite that convincing.
If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
She hanged herself, remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging. Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
I see. So that means...
Couldn't possibly have been Ibuki.
There's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What the heck?
there's still one more issue on my mind. If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, then just what was that video Hajime saw?
Huh?
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right?
Yeah.
Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
Maybe.
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
Nah, we do have an ultimate hypnotist here, so that's not happening.
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something. So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
So, an alibi. Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi. Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function,
Yeah, it's
right?
kind of crap.
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
That doesn't work. Wait. No, it still works, but... Huh?
What time did Hajime see that
Before the morning announcement.
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement. And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the
Wait,
announcement.
what?
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time?
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
Don't know. My
We
guess.
can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Sonya's account, actually. Mikan's account right before the money came out in the morning. Mikan was with Hajime the whole time. Afterwards, she went to the hospital to check on everyone, realized Ibuki had disappeared. When she rushed out of the hospital, she apparently met up with Ryuigo. Well, it says apparently there. That's Sonya's account. Hiyoko was distraught because her kimono was disheveled and she was unable to attack. Yeah, that's got nothing to do with this. My other shots.
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my
Ryuigo's account. Ryuigo. After Ryuigo met Mikan in front of the hospital, they split up and searched for Ibuki. We checked the movie theatre, the Electric Avenue, but we didn't find anyone. Apparently, Ryuigo and Mikan were only separated for a very short time. After we met at the hospital. It can't have been him then.
motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi,
Wait a
then...
second. Nah, man. It was worth a shot. Why did I just use Sonya's one? Yeah.
We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane,
Mikan's
right?
180.
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be.
My own cottage.
Damn it! We were sleeping at our cottages, right? But that's not an alibi since there's no one there to back it up, right? Hey, Andre, can you do something about that? Can't you provide better cover fire?
Crap! We can exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
Is it?
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own
Yeah,
cottage.
sleeping might not be it.
That's not an alibi.
That's useless.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then...
Gotcha! My original hunch was
that's
right.
wrong.
I just used the wrong bullet the first time.
Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikan and I both have
Because
alibis.
she was on my face.
You two have alibis?
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikan and I were actually together for a while.
We even woke up together that morning.
Way to make it sound wrong. Thanks, Mikan.
Hey, what kind of situation
That
is
you is
that?
just nowhere near as nice as you think.
I accidentally fell asleep on top of Hajime.
That face. Just what?
Yeah, it's not like that. She just came to tell me Nagato's
I fell
condition
asleep
had
on my
improved.
face.
And we went to the hospital together afterward. So we were together until right before the announcement.
I get it. You guys have alibis.
If that's the case, the killer must be someone else.
It's better if we think about it like that. The killer decided to falsify the murder sequence to hide the actual time of the crime anyway.
So it's inevitable that an alibi for both before and during the morning announcement would be very important.
It feels like Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has backed us into a corner instead.
But committing an imitation murder, is that really all it was?
Huh?
Faking the time the crime occurred by falsifying the murder sequence, hiding their alibi in the process? Was that the only reason the killer made both bodies imitate the
What other reason
movie?
could there be?
Are you saying there was another reason?
I feel really bad for confusing you guys so much, but that's how I feel. I think the killer had a completely different reason for falsifying the murder sequence.
The killer had a different reason? If that's the case, are we still in the killer's trap? Inside a trap set by one of us? If so, then whose and what kind of trap is it?
Hiya!
Why, hello there, Monomi. The moss balls sure look tasty today. Don't characterize me as someone who lives on moss balls. And there's some chance time. How about what? What's that? Now then, Monomi's appeal time starts now. Huh? Appeal time? Your kind-hearted big brother is gonna give you the chance to reclaim your honor. Good luck. Show those jerks who treat you like a red-headed stepchild who's boss. That's 99% your fault. While you were whining, your time's already running out, so please make your appeal simple. About 30,000 words or so. That's too long, it'll just be a boring appeal. Come on, if your appeal is successful, there might be merchandise opportunities heading your way. Then... I'm Usami, magical miracle girl, Usami. I'm an itty-bitty girl with his sweet like milk. Milk's not sweet, but fine. Jeez, I thought something Robot's little sister was supposed to be the best.
What a disappointment!
Who are you talking about? I have no clue whatsoever. Robots? That's a reference to something, but I can't remember. I don't know. Genuinely can't remember. It's like the tip of your tongue. That idea. It's there, but it's not there.
I'm Monami. Once again, I've been put in such an unreasonable situation. Seriously, he's like the king of unreasonableness. Why did it turn out like this? We were supposed to have a fun, friendly school trip, but it turned out all bloody instead. No! This definitely cannot be allowed. That's why I want you to remember this. Everyone, do your very best. Don't lose to yourself. And don't forget to save frequently.
DanganRonpa.